أشرف من Andrew Mills, Reuters.
We have the third question from Reuters.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to ask questions today. This impending round of negotiations, will this include Gaza and Lebanon, or will this round of negotiations in Doha only be focused on reaching a ceasefire in Gaza? Could you also please talk about what kind of deal will be on the table? Is this President Biden's proposal from May, or will this be something new? And if it's new, what will it be? And will we see these negotiations take place before the U.S. election? And then perhaps for both of you, Israel yesterday accused 6 colleagues from Al Jazeera of being members of Hamas or Islamic Jihad. And Jazeera has condemned this, calling those allegations unfounded and suggesting that that may be justification for Israel's targeting of journalists. What is, I'd like to hear from both of you about your response to this latest development regarding Al Jazeera and its journalists in Gaza. Thank you.
I'm happy to start. So, in referring to negotiators coming back together, that was referring specifically to negotiations on the return of hostages and a ceasefire for Gaza. And that is the entire focus of their work. Separate from that is work that we're doing also very intensely on Lebanon to reach a diplomatic resolution, to see the full implementation of 1701, to enable people to return to their homes. That's separate, but it's equally intense and involves a lot of work in trying to get clear understandings of how we would implement 1701, and I think we're making progress on that. Going back to the negotiations on ceasefire and hostage deal, I think one of the things we're doing is looking at whether there are different options that we can pursue to get us to a conclusion, to get us to a result. And so we're talking both with our mediating partners in Qatar and in Egypt about that. And this is something that the negotiators will be discussing as well when they get together. With regard to the report on Al Jazeera, I can't speak to the veracity of that report. It clearly needs to be examined. We very much support the work of journalists in Gaza and everywhere else around the world, including in areas of conflict. And we're equally determined that journalists be protected. Far too many have lost their lives in Gaza. We're determined to do what we can to ensure that, again, they can do their work as safely and securely as possible, recognizing that in any conflict zone, of course, there's inherent danger. But it's imperative that this work continue. The United States strongly supports it.
Well, I'm sorry, I just need, because there was a part of your question previously I didn't answer, I missed it. It's my mistake. I didn't bring my pen, so, and your question was too long, honestly, so, I mean, regarding our communication with Hamas and the leadership after Sinwar, yes, we re-engaged with them. We've been in engagement with the representative from the political office in Doha. We had some meetings with them the last couple of days. I believe that until now there is no clarity what will be the way forward or the clear position. But the position that we had with us, at least throughout the meeting or what we have sensed, it was the same position as the last paper stated. And basically, I think this would be their starting point until they come up with a further position. Regarding your question about Al Jazeera journalists, first of all, you know, Al Jazeera is an independent media institution that runs out of Doha, and we are very proud of it as an institution that has it's gained the respect around the world. Its coverage for different conflict zones been commended, and I think this is not only covering the conflicts in the Middle East. Even we see their coverage, whether it's on the war in Ukraine or other areas in the world. And we have never seen the journalists being treated the way that's being treated in Gaza, unfortunately. Second, that we expect that Al Jazeera, they are running at the highest international standards, and they are going to, if there are any premises to these accusations, that they are going to take care of the measures that's needed for their journalists. But also we need to know that we learned throughout this war that we cannot take those accusations of Israel for face value, because we've been subject to that, and one of the mission of Qatar Reconstruction Committee in Gaza was bombed by the IDF, claiming that there are Hamas tunnels under it, and these holes that they have showed to the media, apparently confirmed by the Israeli officials, those are water wells that have been there for decades. So I would look further on that accusations before taking it like this for granted. And finally, I just echo what the Secretary has mentioned about the protection of the press in different conflict zones. It's necessarily, it's mandatory in the international law, and I think that there is no any justification for targeting the press, nor the civilians, of course, but the press, especially in the war zones. Whatever the justification is, I think it's not acceptable.
السؤال الرابع والأخير